Since my first year of teaching, it's been impossible to ignore all the problems that plague education. After years of disappointment with legislators and education leaders, it finally hit me that we need a new vision for education. Someone needs to show what's now possible in a classroom, and it has to be someone that's in the classroom because that's the only way to know it actually is going to work with real students. We have options that teachers 20 years ago couldn't even imagine. We're not limited to working with the same traditional methods and the mediums that we grew up using ourselves. A class like Innovative Arts can have students all working on different projects at the same time because of technology. And because students are engaged with something that they chose, we can have class conversations about mistakes and failures and creativity. Our students can start to see their unique creative selves develop as they gain real experience. They can begin to imagine themselves as unique creators. That's the vision. I'm calling this episode 1 because there's so much to unpack. It's going to be about 9 episodes just to flesh out what I just said. YouTube will notify you every time a new episode comes out if you hit subscribe and bell button. We got to start with what's wrong with education. The problems in our schools don't stem from the students and they don't stem from the culture. It's the education system itself. Standardized testing made sense back in the 90s before the internet changed pretty much everything. Since those laws were first written, more and more mandates and requirements have been added to teachers' plates. It's never ending. If we leave it to our legislators and the non-education leaders to dictate what education will become and will continue to be, then we're just going to keep adding more and more mandates forever, and there's going to be less and less time for the real human stuff that teaching and learning is all about. Technology and the internet have changed pretty much everything about our daily lives, and they should have started to change everything about our schools, but we're too busy trying to cover all these standards and mandates. There just isn't time left to do everything that we want to do. What everyone needs to understand is that teachers are trying to teach so many standards and get all these kids ready for a test so that there's no time left to deep dive into a topic or have a fun unit or even slow down if your students need it. Now, just yesterday I heard this again. I do not have time to teach the way these students need. We just have to kind of push forward and hope for the best. Our hands are cuffed by law to the old way of thinking. And this was me as a science teacher. I ruthlessly cut away great activities and figured out how to teach faster and faster. And after years, I was still not able to cover everything that I was supposed to cover for the test. I'm convinced that there's a type of moral injury to have to push content so fast that you know that you're killing the thing that you love in your students, the curiosity, and you're skewing their priority towards grades and things that don't matter by covering too much material. Now, why wouldn't a student be apathetic when the content is coming at them just non-stop? I waited for years for technology to finally start solving some of our problems, and it seemed obvious. There's so much was possible. It had to get better, right? But no, technology has been used to push even more content even faster. Our students are fried and they have even more distractions to pull them off task. We're locked in a system that was designed before the internet when it was completely impossible for 25 students to each access their own resources and go in their own direction. It's our failure of imagination and our lack of vision for what could be that's holding us back. We can do better than that. When real students experience and love a new way of having class, they can show the difference in themselves, and then we can start to envision a whole new future for education. That's the hope with these videos and what I'm trying to do with Innovative Arts class here. It's taken years to figure out how to make it possible. Kids choose a path to follow, and our class activities focus on how to develop and explore their interests, how to have confidence in your creative ability, how it's okay to making mistakes and retrying a step. That's just a normal part of the process. We talk about how to adjust your plans as a project progresses, or how to stick with a project even after that initial rush of excitement wears off. Innovative Arts class makes it okay to be doing something different than your peers and to start a project that might just fail. It's a class where we can admit that something went wrong, kind of dissect it, learn from it, and rejoice in it. You got to be okay with a failed project. I'm trying to teach students to follow their own curiosity. Years of trial and error went into getting this class started, but now that it exists, it doesn't seem impossible anymore. Just imagine if we could empower students to fully use the technology they already have access to in all of their other classes. We could be teaching every other subject differently with just that one change. I hope you can see how excited I am about the possibility of all this. I named this series, We Will Change Education Ourselves, because it's going to take teachers to create a vision of what could be in a classroom. And it's urgent that we get the vision out there. The current system is failing way too many kids. So as episode 1 ends, I just want to encourage you to become a part of the we in We Will Change Education Ourselves. It's going to take a community of supporters and contributors and dreamers for any of this to come together and not just be me in my classroom by myself after school talking to a camera. So please take a moment to say hello in the comments. I'll be building relationships and hoping to connect with some other awesome people. So at the end of each of these episodes, I'm going to show some of the awesome projects that have been happening in the classroom. And I want to connect with all of you, so check out the social media links down at the bottom in the description. And I hope that there are people that support this idea enough to engage. I hope to hear from you and have a great day. What we need is a class where students who struggle everywhere else can come and use their strengths. We need to build a class that builds everyone up, no matter what their ability is to start, and a class that isn't super easy for our brightest students. They also need challenge. They need open-ended freedom to push themselves way past, that A level that they can get to so easily.